Let's start out with a big player, and that is one of the world's largest companies by turnover, by employees, by steel consumption, and by product produced, Toyota. Based in its own city in Japan, Toyota City. That's like, that's how you know a company is very important. Founded in 1933 and has its own family headquarters. When I say family, the Toyota family are in fact the one that founded it. It's of course also involved with financial services. Market capitalization is 171.41 billion US dollars. So it's listed in Tokyo, but it's also listed on the New York Stock Exchange through an ADR, and that's how you can work out what the value of the company is. We're not showing a price to earnings ratio or a dividend here, but I think according to my notes, the price to earnings ratio is probably around 7.82 and the dividend yield 3.52%. So maybe just a few write-offs and write-downs in recent times, complicating those reports. But the company hasn't really done all that well recently.
No, not particularly. And I think also, Paul, bear in mind that when you're buying Toyota, you're also buying a play into the Japanese yen. Because at the end of the day, although they have manufacturing plants all over the world, it is all eventually translated into yen. So, depending on your view as to what's going to happen with the yen, is Abenomics going to come to the fore? Are we going to see a continuously weakening yen? If that's the case, then how's that going to impact on Toyota?
I don't make a habit of following what the yen's doing because it's too complicated. I can't work out whether it's up, down, or sideways. But as far as the sales are concerned of this company, they had slightly disappointing monthly sales. They put sales out on a monthly basis. I mean, to put things in perspective, they produce nearly 220 to 230,000 vehicles per month, which grossed up brings you to northwards of like 2.5, almost 3 million cars a year. So, that's a big, big number. That's because, of course, we have Corollas all over the place, the Buckies all over the place, the taxis. Then they also have Lexus as well. And within Toyota, they've got all those mini cars like the Etios and the Etios and all those other ones whose names I can't quite remember. I mean, it is really a major mega corporation at every level and very active in almost all markets of cars around the world, the US, South Africa, China, everywhere.
Yeah, they've covered the board. And thankfully for them, they've largely managed to escape the scandals that have hit the European
So no questions about their emissions controls that you can pick up?
Not yet. It hasn't raised its ugly head as far as Toyota is concerned.
Yeah, well, let's look at the share chart because that one will reveal that they hit an all-time high of around 150 US dollars per ADR back in about March of 2015, and since then they've sagged by nearly 40% down to the current level just above 100. So I don't know, what is that about? Is that just concerns that sales won't be all that hot and that the delay in recovery in certain parts of the world is just taking its toll?
Yeah, I think that's
Emerging markets looking a little bit soft, etc.
I think that's right, Paul, and it comes back to what we said. Global growth really is stumbling along at this point in time, and it's difficult to get awfully enthusiastic about a company that, as we said before, pretty much covers the board.
Let me bring one additional issue onto the table, and that is the change in driving patterns. So we know that, 30 years ago, anybody worth their salt would be saving up for their first car. So it was just quite straightforward. If you could, you wanted to have your own vehicle. So sales were good and strong. Now we know that millennials, these people that are under 30, they don't particularly think having a car is such a clever idea in many countries. They would rather use Uber or take public transport. So how do you foresee that? I mean, Uber is perhaps actually an advantage because if you think about it, most of the cars I get picked up in environment an Uber is a Toyota Corolla.
Yeah. No, you're right. There's no doubt about it. The companies like Toyota will manage to be able to become part of that growing movement. And I agree with you. It is a growing movement. People, at the end of the day, a motor car is a wasting asset. And do you really want to have that on your personal balance sheet? Not really. So I think as time evolves, more and more people, particularly as you say, the millennials who have got a great feel for cell phones and the like, will be going more and more in that direction. Goodness, I mean, I use Uber regularly, and I think it's absolutely fantastic.
So what that means, of course, is that there may be fewer vehicles on the road, but they'll be utilized more productively, and then they'll run out more quickly. And so Toyota will just adjust its model. You probably find right now the strategic planners at Toyota are spending a lot of time understanding the Uber model and working out ways to finance vehicles for Uber owners instead of retail individuals.
Yeah, so we're just changing the nature of the dynamic rather than the dynamic itself.
So it's not necessarily a net negative.
No.
Okay, so the share price has sagged. It doesn't look as though the market generally globally is all that excited about Toyota's prospects. Is this time to buy, hot or not?
Can't see it.
No.
I'm pretty neutral on this one, in fact.
Yeah, I think that's got to be the conclusion. So not hot there.